there is a link between childhood trauma and your inability to be dominant with a woman. And I know that it might sound a little bit crazy to say this, because you might think that you can learn to be dominant, right? You just have to go to the gym.
I go to the gym for 3 hours a day, every day.
You have to learn to be a leader. You have to learn to assert your boundaries. You have to learn to speak louder, and a bunch of other things. But the truth is, even if you know logically how to be dominant, you might still have a voice in your head telling you that it's not a good thing to do.
Something is stopping me.
That you might hurt women if you are dominant. That you might be rejected, that you might not be accepted. There's so much stuff going on internally that are telling you to not be dominant with women. And this is exactly what a client experienced a few days ago in a session. And he was in for a surprise. Let's put it like this. Because when he entered the session, he told me, well, I have this Russian woman I'm trying to date, but she doesn't want to have sex with me. And I don't know why. I've been trying so hard. We had so many dates. She's telling me, I need more time, but nothing is really happening. And the first question I ask him is, well, are you dominant with her? Because I know from my experience that Slavic woman, Russian woman, Ukrainian woman, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Polish woman, all of that, they are feminine. It's part of their culture to be feminine, to be traditional, and they need a man to be masculine. They will be attracted to a masculine man, not to a feminine woman. I don't know many Russian, Ukrainian women who are attracted to a feminine man, unless this man has tons of money, high status and stuff like that. But in that case, she's a gold digger, and you don't really want to date this woman, right? Because we need to make the distinction between a gold digger and a really feminine woman who wants, the proper traditional relationship and stuff like that, right? So when I asked him this question, well, he told me directly, well, I'm not dominant. I don't want to be dominant. I'm not into this.
That's not me, Michael.
And at first I was like, okay, well, that's okay. You don't have to force yourself to be dominant. But what's coming up for you? That's what I asked him. What's coming up for you when I'm mentioning dominance? And he started to express this uncomfortable feeling. And that's when I knew that he was not really authentic. Meaning that within himself, there is a part of me that wants to be dominant with a woman, right? But there is something blocking him to express that. And he's rationalizing it by saying, well, I'm not into this. That's not me. I don't want to do that, right? So what we did is we started to dive into this very feeling, right? This uncomfortable feeling of being dominant. And here, there's a lot of things that can happen, right? You might find out that you feel uncomfortable to be dominant because you're scared of getting rejected, because you fear of not being accepted, because you fear of hurting a woman, right? In my client's case, what came up was, I don't want to hurt her. Because in his mind, and that's a limiting belief, in his mind, there was a voice telling him, if I'm going to be dominant with a woman, I'm going to hurt her. So what we did here is we dive even deeper into this voice telling him, I'm going to hurt women if I'm dominant. And what we ended up finding out is this memory. A memory popped. And this memory was about his mom and dad fighting and his dad beating his mom. And as a child, he witnessed that experience firsthand. And he was very touched by it, let's put it this way. And I think we would all be touched by such an experience. Me, you, all of us. It's a tough experience as a child to see your parents fighting, and it's even more tough to see your dad beating your mom. And his instinctual reaction as a child was to protect his mom. He didn't want his dad to beat his mom. So he came up to his dad, he started to, fight him, but his dad just pushed him away. And I mean, I don't want to go too much into the details, but basically, because of this experience, he internalized, I don't want women to be hurt, and I'm going to protect my mom no matter what. The problem is this internalization of the experience is now still with him, but stuck in the past. So I know it sounds maybe a little bit crazy to say this, but in that fight, the dad was dominant. He was dominating, or at least we can call it like this, domineering the woman, the mom, right? And for the child, he interpreted like this: dominance is not a good thing, because dominance means that someone is going to get hurt. But the thing is, dominance doesn't have to hurt anyone. Dominance can be a very pleasurable experience. Why a woman, especially feminine women, feel deep attraction for men who are very dangerous, for men who are very masculine, very dominant. And it's because from an evolutionary psychology perspective, it makes sense. Why? Because dominance means that the man is able to protect her, which is kind of funny because the shadow side of dominance is that the woman might get hurt from it, right? But if the man is able to have control over his dominance and not let it spill out, or not let it slide into the shadow side of it, right? Then it's a whole different story. And dominance can be a good thing, can be a very pleasurable experience for a woman. And that's why women are attracted to it, but at the same time, there's a risk, as you can see. So what we did with my client is to slowly rewrite this experience, right? Instead of internalizing dominance as a very negative thing to do, we slowly started to, change the code of this memory so that he feels that dominance can be a good thing for women, right? And here's the interesting thing that happened. A few days later, after the session, he had an encounter with this same Russian woman, and he allowed himself to be dominant. So what he did is he picked her up, right? And, he just carried her like this for a little bit and then put her back down, right? And he sent me a text and he's like, bro, I just did this. And she reacted so well that she even told me that she wants to receive this again. And I was like, told you, Russian woman, Slavic woman, feminine woman want this. They want the man to be dominant, to be almost like a gorilla, to just go for what you want, no matter what, right? And this would have not happened for him if he wouldn't dive internally into this uncomfortable feeling about being dominant. Why are you uncomfortable about dominance? This is a natural trait that you have as a man. It's hardwired in your DNA. But you're scared of it because you know that it's like a weapon almost, right? It's a risky thing to do. But if you have it under control, if you come from a good heart, you can be dominant. I remember making a TikTok video a few years ago that got super viral. And I was mentioning that one of the most powerful things you can do with a woman is to combine love with dominance. Because that's the ultimate form, the expression of the masculine, love and dominance. And when you're able to provide that for a woman, she's going to go absolutely nuts for you, totally nuts for you. She will want to go home with you. She will want to have an intimate experience with you. She will not tell you that she needs more time. Because the only reason why she said she needs more time with my client is because she didn't feel like being intimate with him. Because she wants to feel the dominance, the masculine from him. That's why she didn't feel it. That's it. It's not like rocket science, When you deal with such kind of woman, you have to understand that you need to step into this masculine version of yourself, right? And it's not necessarily about learning to be masculine, because my whole theory is, sure, you can learn a little bit to be more masculine, sure, but a big chunk of the work is to remove the barriers that are blocking you to be masculine. Because you can fake being masculine, right? You can act tough and all rigid and all strong and stuff like that. But a woman, a feminine woman who is at least a little bit sensitive, she will she will know that you're faking it. And it will be so unattractive for her, she will get turned off and she will reject you instantly. But if you remove all these barriers, you deal with your internal, with those fears, those insecurities and stuff like that, and then you generally tap into this more masculine version of yourself, there's no more faking it anymore. It's just you. That's a natural expression of yourself. And this, a woman will absolutely love it. And this is the recipe to, of course, have an intimate experience, but then build a relationship that is going to last in the long run. Not a 1 year relationship and then you break up because there's some drama and this shit. No, a long term relationship. Who am I to say this? Well, I have been in a long term relationship right now for almost 2 years and we're going really strong. And my last two relationships failed because I was not masculine, because I didn't do the internal work. I was a mess back then. And I've learned from my mistakes. And now I'm in a, complete different reality. And I can see that having a relationship with a woman is a gift, but sustaining a relationship, keeping it fulfilling, exciting, feeling the love still, that's a whole work in itself. And it wouldn't be possible without internal work and without learning to be masculine. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in getting a free course on how to attract one date opportunity every week with your ideal woman using the masculine alignment process, and yeah, that's going to teach you how to be masculine, you can click on the link down below in the description. It's totally for free. You just have to give me your email, and that's it. And I see you, my brother.